Yeah. We gotta rise up. Rise up. Yo. Go for broke, give everything, better yet give your all. They don't wanna see you win, nevertheless show evolve. Wanna see my demise, you can be in for a surprise. Cause the sun ain't about to set, now it's about to rise. Come hell or high water, we gotta rise up. Despite the storms of life, man, we gotta rise up. All right, what's going on, everybody? I want to welcome you to this week's episode of the Stage Is Mine podcast, presented to you by EETV. This guest right here, I can't even call him a friend. He's more like a brother, someone I've known for a very long time. We've done a lot of music together, someone who mentored me in the music field as well. Engineer, singer, recording artist, Cope Till. What's going on, Cope?
Not much. What's happening with you, man?
Not much, man. It's great to have you on, man. We'll start it off, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been engineering since professionally since 95, 96 when I moved to Los Angeles. I've been doing it, for years, and just took a leap of faith, moved to LA, got a job. After about 5 days of being there, just for a friend of mine's boyfriend worked at Westlake Studios, and they needed runners, and I just started doing it, working about 80 hours or more a week, cleaning toilets, making coffee, bottom of the food chain, and just worked my way up to assisting after 2.5 years, then started getting the good gigs. And we had just, everybody that was anybody in the business is pretty much gone through Westlake at some point to have their records mixed or record,
Right.
And just playing in bands, and that's kind of what got me there and kept me interested to take it further.
Okay. For those who don't know too much about Westlake, what are some of the classic albums that's been, recorded there?
Oh, Michael Jackson, Off the Wall, Thriller, and mixed there too, as well as recorded in the Beverly Boulevard building. We're at Studio A.
Okay.
But both those records would have been done in Studio A, Westlake. There's a total of 8 rooms out there, so it's kind of like when you come up there, you become part of it, I guess, and it's like home. Even though I'm not there now, it's like home away from home, I guess.
Right.
I lived in the studio for about 2 weeks for a period of time in the one of the rooms that we had built for Michael Jackson. They have a shower, kitchen, everything, and their couch to sleep on. So.
Oh, wow. For you, Cope, when did you develop a passion for music?
As a kid, probably about 3rd or 4th grade, just listening to music. I was, I guess, always very in tune with music. I started playing picked up bass, then guitar. I picked up a bass around, I think, 1988, and I started playing bands by late 89, 1990, and was full on gigging by 1991.
Okay, wow. For you also, who would you say were some of your musical, like influences over the years? Like when you got that passion to not only move to Los Angeles, but also, get in bands and stuff like that. What were some artists or bands that kind of influenced you?
I guess musically, there would have been, I guess and the whole connection to Los Angeles. I guess there's like a New York side and there's the Los Angeles side of things. And that started is, every city has its own thing. I guess like every city would have a certain console they would use, or, based on the parts they could get studios. The West Coast might have the old Universal audio boards, or in England they were using the Helios and the Neve boards. But more the LA sound and the English sound was more of, I guess, the thing that influenced me. Bands, I guess, like Bowie. David Bowie would have been being an innovator and always evolving and changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I later ended up starting a band with his guitarist from Reeves Cabral's from Tin Machine and Bowie. Played with him for about 17 years, and we started playing together, messing around with stuff around 99, 2000, and then we started a full-on band in 2000 with Paul Ill and Bert Thomas. And Paul Reeves now plays with The Cure, and he was pretty amazing, and like, you know, grabbed a lot of insight, you know, and also he introduced me to Bowie, and that was kind of, and his wife at the time, rest in peace, Bowie, but Iman, and it was it's pretty intense. It was just like 5 minutes and a handshake, and just kind of like, oh, I don't want to say anything stupid, you know.
Right. Okay.
But Led Zeppelin, Bowie, The Doors, stuff like that, I guess, rooted more in the old history of rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of launched me, you know, as a kid, and then, you know, I fell into more specific things later.
Okay. Now, what also made you want to become a recording, you know, engineer?
You know, there were certain records that would just mystify you, how they got the sound on certain things, and I really fought the instinct to be a engineer for a long time, and just thinking, you know, I guess I had that not arrogant, more naive attitude that the artist has so much to do with the sound, when a lot of the time, especially back then, from the 80s, say, well, a lot of experimentation in music and effects, the recording formats, and everything was just exploding. And the early computer technology with sampling and the Fairlight systems and MIDI sequencing, and how people did remixes really, really intrigued me. And to manipulating phase and panning to where things sound like they're surrounding you, like you almost, it feels like you're almost in the drum kit when you're listening to a record sometimes, in a car or say. But, you know, I guess all of that kind of combined got me really interested to get in the, I guess, in the chair, and, you know, and walking into one of those rooms for the first time. I mean, it's like stepping on the Star Trek Enterprise, you know. I mean, it's immense, just wow. Nice.
Yeah. Back then, you know, what was life like in you know, Los Angeles at the time? And then you know, what did you kind of learn and soak up where you was you know, doing everything at Westlake?
Well, there wasn't much time for life, or having a personal life, I would say, even though I tried. Just very busy, but, you know, within like the first week, okay, my first day on the job, I walk in, and In Vogue is in the lobby, and I'm like, wow, and I'm, you know, getting them food, and the next day Warren G, and then, you know, the next thing you know, you're assisting people like these mix engineers that you have a lot of respect for, or even engineering for guys like Rick Rubin, just on the fly, and Wyclef Jean. So being in a studio like Westlake, guys would, you know, artists knew that we knew what we were doing, and we had some of the best. So they would come in and not bring an engineer a lot of the time. So, you know, you just clock out, they pay you themselves, and, you know, yeah, I'm your engineer. And that's usually how things take off when you go freelance.
Okay. And what were some of your most memorable sessions, you know, over the years?
Wyclef and Cannabis, working with those guys was very, and Rick Rubin being there on top of it, was just, you know, pretty amazing. I worked with the late Bill Kennedy a lot as well, and he was just really amazing at getting sounds, and he taught me a few tricks. He worked with 9 Inch Nails, Filter, Alice in Chains, a lot of different people, but he was just get these huge guitar sounds, and you buy him a 6-pack of beer, and he would tell you the tricks. So
yeah. Okay.
So,
In your opinion, Cope, with you being such heavy influence by rock and roll, what would you say is, like the current state of rock music right now in this age?
There are bands out there that are really good right now. That you have to look for them, and there's a couple of labels that I kind of watch. I guess that's the best you can do. But Sargent House is one of the labels. I don't know if they're out of Sweden, but I would say Sweden has probably the best bands right now, which probably a lot of people might find that odd, but filmmakers and musicians, I mean, they are just a notch above, and they're putting out some intense stuff.
Yeah.
And there's American bands too.
And what do you think kind of happened over the years? While we were coming up, you had all these bands like, Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, like all these different groups, and like rock and roll was so like mainstream. And it's like over the years, it kind of seems like it's not as much. Like, what do you think kind of transpired in the landscape of music with that?
Making a rock record can take 6 months to a year, I guess. And when you do something, if you're using a laptop to do everything, it's going to be obviously a lot faster to do a song. I remember like around 95, 96, being at the studios, like at Westlake all the time. 90% of the budgets, maybe 95% of the budgets, were R&B and hip hop, because the overhead was probably about 40% of the rock and roll overhead. And they figured it. The labels figured out they could make money on it, and they're like, oh, we don't have to. And that trend kind of started in the 80s. A lot of studio owners stopped adding drum rooms, and it just became more about getting an SSL in the mix room. At that point, and probably 85, 86, and then I think by 1990, 91, everybody was so tired of the backlash to the pop music overproduced kind of processed thing that it was that backlash was Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins and bands like that. So, and I think people were kind of ready for it, but I don't like just to listen to stuff like that. In fact, by about 95, 96, during that time, I pretty much cut off all music as far as rock music, because nothing good was coming out for a few years. So, and I think the further music has deviated away from like being rooted in blues music, and it's just got a little more sterile and lifeless in some aspects, that it went as far as it could in a lot of ways. Now there are bands that take it further still that are coming around, but
right,
that's a tough one. We'll see.
Yeah. I know, hanging around with you for years, man. I know you were into groups like this, Sex Pistols, Massive Attack, like all kinds of stuff. I definitely remember learning, even though I knew rock pretty well, but I learned about a lot more bands, hanging around you. How do you see the current state of the music industry right now? Not just rock, but just everything. Do you think the industry is kind of oversaturated right now? Because it's like, I have another podcast besides this one, and we cover like 6 albums a week, and we go over like maybe 30 to 40 singles, and we're not even getting to everything, picking those 6 albums, man. It's like 30, 40 projects a week dropping.
Yeah, I think the Atmos thing, or the Dolby Atmos, requiring studios to have, to mix in 914, 912, I believe it's 13 speakers. I haven't taken the plunge yet, but I plan on doing it in about 2 months. It's made it, most of the time, I would say that the labels that I've dealt with, they don't have a budget for basically getting to the end of a stereo mix, and they want to be cheap on the mastering. So I'm hearing more and more that labels just don't have the money for the Atmos mixes. However, to get on a Apple to one of the circulated playlists, you have to be an Atmos. And so that's kind of leveled the playing field and knocked a lot of the bedroom guys out of the equation. And I don't think that's the reason they're doing it, but that might be the end result. There's so many guys that just do everything by themselves and very talented. So, but being in a band or an artist that's dedicated, that's actually really doing this, getting rid of some of that static, it's probably not a bad thing, or just, letting it be available. So that independent artists that are really, really doing this for real can push forward. Because I've met so many people that just, this is like a 6-month thing for them, and this has been a 30-year career for me. And guys like yourself who've been putting out music for the past just short of 20 years. Right. So
with you being like a engineer and all these different softwares and programs and stuff like that, but what does it take for artists to really have like a good mix and a good master?
I think what's is considered acceptable as far as a mix these days is not a good mix. I hear bad mixes on the radio all the time. I would say speakers that having your first reflections and second reflections controlled in your acoustic treatment, so you don't have reflections directly to the sides of your ears hitting your ears at the same time the sound of the speaker is, and they blend together, so you're not getting an accurate representation. If you can hear something, you can probably mix it. That's probably the biggest key in this business. Having the monitor management system that feeds the signal to your speakers is very crucial. People spend $5,000 to $10,000 just for that aspect. So that's a big key in it. The rest, just diving in and getting your feet wet, it's probably the best way to do it.
Right. What are your thoughts, Cope, about all this AI that's out right now, like the artificial intelligence, and they're using like I heard last night Frank Sinatra doing like a Lil Jon song over and stuff like that. Like, what are your thoughts of all that?
I think that's about all that it should be used for. It's pretty soulless. Just the impact it would have on the graphic design guys and gals. That's just, oh God. But yeah, it could go a lot further. Get a lot worse.
Right. Tell us right quick about your band, man. You have a band that you're in. Tell us about what are you guys working on right now?
Uncast. Yeah, I lucked out. I won the lottery after not being in the band for almost 10 years. A couple of guys from here contacted me, asking me, try out, and I think they gave me the gig on the first or second time I went to see them, and just the sound they got was amazing, and the songs were amazing. 3 or 4 of the songs were already written with lyrics and everything, which I'd never done before, and still those songs are probably the hardest for me to sing. But I just walked in and found my way right with it. I had to put the cigarettes down and try to get myself back into shape, and it took about 6 months to really get back to full speed, but I think I'm there now. We started recording last year, and I'm about halfway through recording the vocals, and right now I get about 1 day every 2 to 3 weeks to work on it. So I'm hoping by early August the record will be out.
Okay. Cool. You guys have a single out yet? I know you've been going out, a little bit here and there, doing some live shows and stuff too.
Yeah, just no singles yet. We did put one little live clip out. It's really nothing special, just so people would be familiar with one of the songs before the very first show we played a 1.5 years ago, or last March of 2022. And we're not going to do any singles. We want to just do the whole record and just then start pushing stuff.
Okay.
And I think as of last week, I just joined another band playing guitar, possibly doing vocals. So I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see how that one pans out.
Okay, nice. What has your process been like for writing and recording?
A little slow. I found out that I was diabetic about 3 months ago, and as soon as I put that in check, everything started firing on all cylinders again. It was just a little foggy during that period. I guess I was a little hypoglycemic or what have you. Just my levels were out of whack, and so writing was definitely a lot slower than being in my 20s or my 30s. But you start doing it, then it's like going to the gym. Your brain's a muscle, so it just starts working better the more you do it.
Yeah, definitely. Tell us about Strident Trax, man, your recording studio, and what do you guys do there, and what are some of the projects that you've been working on currently outside of your music?
We're a full service recording, mixing and mastering facility, and cover everything, all the bases. We do everything from mainly music, but we do audio books, commercials, just all kinds of stuff. And we've got a great drum room, 16-foot ceilings, and a lot of killer vintage tube bikes and ribbon mics. And so far this year, I've recorded Closure. They're a band, and they're getting some traction. I think they've gotten well over like 1 million hits on YouTube, and they're touring all over the country. It's Closure with a Z, and they're really, really good. Great guys too.
Yeah.
I worked with another band from Montgomery. The singer lives in Texas, and he does. We recorded them, and we're actually going to be mixing tomorrow. They're called Venusville, and they are epic. I think they're one of the best bands here, and we've done a couple of shows with them, and I would definitely say they're just phenomenal. And they recorded another band called Mara Negra. Did an EP with these guys, and believe they are more from Birmingham / Huntsville, I believe. I'm not really, don't quote me on that. And all this stuff should be hitting out in the next probably 6 to 8 weeks and being released.
Yeah.
And also another fellow I've been working with lately, a hip hop artist named Big Yak. We work once or twice a week, and he's been kicking out some really great stuff. I don't think he'll ever promote himself personally, because he's humble. But so I'm just mentioning his name because he's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I remember doing some sessions with you. You recorded like some choirs, and so your studio, man, you guys can do like anything, really.
Oh yeah, Dexter Baptist.
Yep.
And Althea Thomas. She played with Martin Luther King, and she was the church organist. And she didn't want to record the pipe organ down there, so we used plugins. And she kind of showed me, I guess, kind of working through me vicariously. She, showed me what to tweak, and we got some pretty real sounds. And this was 14 years ago. We did that record, so, and the technology's come even further now. So, but yeah, that was a great experience.
Yeah, definitely, man. Cope, I do this in every show, man. I'm just going to throw a couple rapid fire questions at you, and you just answer to the best of your capability.
Okay.
What's your favorite rock band of all time?
Oh, Led Zeppelin.
Okay. Name some of your favorite singers.
Robert Plant, Jeff Buckley, let's see, Shalashandra, and the woman from the Cocteau Twins. I forget her name. Elizabeth Fraser, is it her name? Really good.
Okay. Name some of your favorite rappers.
Tupac, definitely take first. Terrence Hill would take second.
Hey man, I love Pac too, man.
Um, really enjoyed working with Too Short. There was another guy, fantastic. But yeah,
Yeah.
a record that I owned,
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Too
and
short.
I'm not ashamed of the first LL record. So that was really good.
Yeah.
First two, actually.
Yeah. Your favorite actor?
Oh, that's a tough one. Um, ooh, that's a real tough one. Um, probably say it probably
No, it's hard.
De Niro.
De Niro.
Sorry.
Okay. No, no, you good. You good. What about favorite actress?
Um, hmm, Nicole Kidman's good.
Hmm.
Say Nicole Kidman.
Okay. You have a favorite movie? Or something you like to watch? Something you've seen like 100 times that never gets old.
Yeah. Uh, I do this to go to sleep, and it's probably really disturbing. Um, and I can't remember any of these actors' names from these smaller movies. They're not that small, but
Mm.
Angel Heart. It's a
Angel.
classic.
Right.
I watched that movie 1,000 times. Um, and I really like the film The Witch. The director who did The Lighthouse, William
Mhm.
Dafoe, and the new Batman, young
Okay.
fellow. He did The Witch as well, and oh god, it's a great movie.
Yeah. You have a favorite producer?
Um, say probably Dave Jordan.
Okay. All right. Here's a good question for you. What's the best engineered album you've ever heard before?
Okay, probably be I would say OK Computer by
Okay.
Radiohead.
Oh, nice. Okay. And do you have like a engineer that you kind of look at and like that's like the bar for you? Like, man, that guy really inspires me.
Yeah, Joe Barresi. He's one of
Okay.
those guys. He does all the tool stuff.
Okay. Name some of your favorite albums that's ever been made.
Um, say Tool Lateralis. He did. Joe Barresi didn't do that one. As far as production, I would say maybe Jane's Addiction, Nothing Shocking. See the Dead Can Dance live album Toward the Within, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon,
Mm,
Led Zeppelin 4.
yeah. What's the best era of music in your opinion?
I think the one that I connect to the most would probably be the more of the post punk era, 1978 through probably 83. It's like a 5 year run there, like
Mhm.
post Sex Pistols, just a lot of great stuff. And
Yeah.
a lot of it never surfaced.
Okay.
Some great things.
And then lastly, who would you say has been like your biggest musical influence?
Probably Fugazi.
Okay. Man, Cope, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. Like I just thank you for everything, like over the years, like all the sessions we've done, songs and everything, man. Like you really like taught me like the intricate parts of like recording. And I remember doing songs. Nope, that's not right. You had me do a line, 30 times and stuff, man. But all that stuff really polished me, man. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, appreciate you working with you. You're a talented artist, man.
Yeah, I
Keep it.
appreciate that, man. Anyone that's interested in learning more about Strident Trax or your band or something, you have a website or like a social media page you can direct them towards.
Yeah. Facebook, and I have a website for the studio. Also, I can send you the link if you'd like. Um, or I can just tell it to you if you want to wait real quick.
Sure.
Follow me on Instagram at cope.till.
Mhm.
And the website right now is copetil.wixsite.com.
All right, awesome. All right, Colt, man, I really appreciate it. And I thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of the Stage is Mine podcast. We'll see you next time. Take care. I want to thank everybody for their support, those of you that have been watching all of our podcasts. If you're interested in donating to the Stage is Mine podcast, you can send that 2 ways, via PayPal or Cash App. Our Cash App is Terry from the A, and our PayPal is EETV101. Support this machine today to help us continue to do what we're doing. Also, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the Stage is Mine podcast, email me today at EETV@yahoo.com or call 334-498-5394. Thank you very much. I want to thank you for tuning in to today's program. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell for all things pertaining to the Stage is Mine podcast. Until next time, take care. Give everything, better yet, give your all. They don't want to see you win, nevertheless, show evolve. Want to see my demise, you can be in for a surprise, cause the sun ain't about to set.